focusing on life here in and around Whitley County. You're listening to Mondays with the Mayor on WJHS 91.5. Now, Mondays with the Mayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, today is Monday, March 14th. I almost forgot the date. Today is Mondays with the Mayor. I am Jonathan Peters. In the studio today, we have Mr. Jordan Glaza, the WJHS Studios teacher.
Hello, guys. We didn't time travel. It's the 21st today.
It's the 21st.
21st episode. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So it is Mondays with the Mayor. Thank you for joining us. Of course, John, please continue as our host.
Yes. And in the studio today, we have Mr. Ryan Daniel.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm glad we could accommodate your crazy schedule.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, here's the thing. We have so many great things to talk about here. Looking forward to this. As always, my one of the highlights of my month is to come and spend some time with you guys.
Well, that's good. Thank you. I like that.
It's fun. So, Mr. Glaza here, I always like to do Mondays with the Mayor. We had to reschedule from our typical time that we record the show and play it back later because we have students in. And John's here with us, one of the student managers here at the audio video department, actually a employee who films the games, and a little announcement about that coming up for Columbia City High School. Yeah. Kind of unofficial, but we like to celebrate where we can here. So, John's in the studio. We're going to talk community stuff with the Mayor, Ryan Daniel, sitting across from us. And let's just dive right into it. So I saw, I showed you a picture earlier, Mr. Daniel, and you and I have been kind of doing the Mondays with the Mayor show for 6 months now? Little about that?
I think so.
Give or take. Yeah. And do you recognize this photo right here?
Oh, it switched on me.
Quit swiping on my phone.
I'm sorry.
No, I can't find it.
I can't find all the basketball games.
Okay, you did see it, though.
I did see that, yes.
So you and I have this little track record lately where when we first fired this up, we started having restaurants come out of COVID restrictions and lockdowns. And it was really cool that you could go to Richard's and grab. Are you swiping through my phone?
No. I'm blowing up the picture so I can see it.
Richard's came back from quarantine, letting people in the restaurant. That was awesome. Yes. We had Tokyo Steakhouse open, which was amazing. The pizza place, Columbia City Pizza, super good wings over there. Shout out if you guys happen to give me some more wings. I wouldn't hurt you, it might hurt me. It might hurt me even more. But now we have another restaurant opening. Do you know this? Tell me.
Oh, no, actually, I appreciate you letting me know that. Unfortunately, because there's so much stuff happening right now, I don't get FYIs about every single thing. So it's nice to see yet another restaurant opening up here in Columbia City. It's certainly a local one, it appears. And honestly, that's the thing that's been so neat about this community and about where we're going with it is entrepreneurs are taking risks to open up those new businesses here in the community because they know that our residents will support them. And I think that's a really cool thing, especially kind of that mixture of the antique and food kind of scenario. I think that's great.
So Tokyo Steakhouse, very, very good if you haven't had a chance to try it. This new restaurant is called Fresh Off the Rail. I have not been there myself yet. Yeah. If you know where the Speedway is, you're on Chicago Street. And if you're headed towards the gun store, the Subway, and the pizza place, that's right there. Right next to the new pizza place, which their wings, dry rub, get them. They're amazing. Tell them Mr. Glaza sent you. They'll probably say who.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Not endorsed at all or anything like that. Right next to that is a vintage antique shop, but they also have soup sandwiches and desserts. So you can't go wrong there. Soup, desserts.
Sure.
So I always like to see Columbia City growing. I always like to see things happening. And you pointed out who was it?
Chapman's.
Yeah,
Chapman's just opened food too, and so I just think it's really neat to see all of these individuals that are taking these risks, knowing that our community is going to support them. But even past that, just the unique types of food and the unique types of lunch and dinner and all those kind of things, whether it's the soup and salad and sandwiches kind of scenario, whether it's Irish nachos and draft root beer, all kinds of really unique and neat features.
Where can we do that? Draft root beer?
Is that a thing? That's like I talk about Chapman's. Yes. Draft root beer. It's really good. Yeah.
Sorry, completely went over my head.
I'm gonna go side note for a moment here, just to tell you a little story about college. It's a clean one. In college, we had on our floor. Full disclosure, I went went to Anderson University. It's a Christian university, so we don't do the things that those public universities do. But point of the matter is on our floor we did a thing called Oktoberfest, which is where we would have kegs of root beer brought in. And we had a party on the floor with kegs of root beer, and I think it actually that tradition that we started actually still goes on today. But there's nothing like draft root beer, that's for sure.
Was there like different varieties? Are you a root beer connoisseur right now?
I'm really not a huge fan of root beer, to be fair, but I like the sweeter versions of root beer, not the drier or the more bitter root beers personally.
You like it with a hint of added vanilla.
Yes, vanilla would be good to it. Yes, absolutely.
Nice full mouthfeel on this one. It really quite. I'm going to tease you about this.
Yes, please do. That's okay.
Root beer connoisseur.
Yes, that's okay.
There's someone on the internet right now writing WJHS Studios an angry letter. Dear Mr. Glaza, you didn't know this, but. Okay, so that's fun. It's great to see the community growing. I love to see little highlights, and especially if we can give them shout outs here and be like, oh, yeah, that would be at minimum entertaining to go and visit.
Well, now I know where the next place I need to go get lunch is. That's for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Did you have something that you wanted to chat about right here? Because I have a question for you involved.
Well, I think probably just giving an update would be really good for the community. We got a lot of things that are on the horizon right now.
Sure.
But we keep getting questions, and rightfully so, about the trail to this place, to the new high school. That would go through the community that we've talked about a lot over the last couple of years. And, I just keep telling people, hey, listen, we've applied for the Next Level Trails grant in the state of Indiana, so we are awaiting their response on that. We feel really good about that, but you just never know. Same thing goes with what we're affectionately calling Eagle Park, which is the former Columbia City High School property. We also are waiting on word from the federal government on a $500,000 grant on that.
Wasn't there supposed to be a skate park right next to Eagle Park?
Yeah. So, it would be inside Eagle Park, yes. And so, but that actually, as a part of our proposal to the Land and Water Conservation Grant, which is through Indiana DNR, through the federal government, it's $500,000 it would go through. It would go. Take in the skate park. It would take in some improvements on that property, pergola with some swings, and resurfacing that parking lot for long-term future. So all of those things, we're still waiting on that grant. So there's 2 grants specifically that we're waiting on.
Okay, so it is 2.
Yeah. So there's 2 different. Well, I'm saying that the trail grant is one, and Eagle Park is a second grant. So both of those are things that we're waiting on ourselves. So yeah. So that's part of it. Obviously, Westgate is about ready to get started on their construction out there. Lots of things happening.
So before we go to the other side of town,
yes,
when it comes to Eagle Park,
yes,
do we have an expected time frame on that? Can we say, are we ahead of schedule? Are we behind schedule on grants? Does it take a year? Does it take 1 month?
Yeah, good question. So I don't know that I would say that there is a specific schedule. Keep in mind that in the proposed plan for Eagle Park, it was about a $50 million project. And with inflation now, you can bet it's going to be more than that. But the point of the matter is that it's going to be done
51 million.
At least 51 million. But the point is that it's going to be done in phases over a long period of time. So it's hard to tell you we're ahead or behind. I will say that anything, as you can imagine, that goes through the federal government does take some additional time than it would going through state or local. So we're anticipating hopefully sometime in the summer we'll be able to figure out whether or not we've been awarded or not. And if that takes place, we're hopeful we can start construction either by the end of this year, beginning of 23.
So you said so I assume if you said if there's a chance that we might not get the grant, is there a backup plan in place?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think here's the good news is that I think when we talked to Indiana DNR, they were really impressed by our project. They really liked it. They were very positive about our project. There's not honestly that many park projects across the state that have land acquisition. And so we've actually utilized the high school property as an acquisition type scenario to match the actual construction piece. So I say that just to say, sure, there's always that chance that we probably won't get. There's that chance that we could not get it, but we feel really confident about that. To answer your question specifically, though, if we don't get it, certainly we're going to keep going after that grant in lots of different ways. We'll tweak it, get better. But certainly there's a lot of very passionate people out there that would love to have an improved and enhanced skate park. And I know we've already partnered with them to start raising funds and things like that. So it's not a never, it's not a no, it's a we'll see.
All right.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So time that all takes over, we could be, you said this is one of those large projects because of the funding, because of that could be a generational project.
Yes.
So we could be continuously getting updates for the trail park and for Eagle Park. Now, the benefits to that, just the last question on this bit, not to beat a horse on this one, to the trail park will encompass what areas? Because trails tend to cover quite the distance. Is this just through Columbia City proper, or does this get out to connect it to like the tiny little trailheads that are in and around Indiana 914, et cetera?
So two different things. So the park, the Eagle Park project, obviously is just for the high school, but the trail itself, the former high school property, the trail itself will go from this property. So basically where the trail, the high school trail ends there, right near Heavy Truck Repair, north of here on State Road 9,
south of town, north of the high school,
north of
where
the high
we
school.
are.
Yeah. So there's a stop there. So we will basically pick up from that point, go across the bridge, the Radio Road Bridge, across the river somewhere along there, and then go to the west toward Line Street and then up Line Street so it connects to the rest of our trail. And there'll also be a connector on 9 where you'll connect from where the trail ends to where the other part of the trail begins. So it's hard to see without a map, but effectively this will be able to take in the northeast and part of the southwest side and connect them to the high school. And then ultimately long term, we'd like to then extend trail out to like the West Gate and Deer Chase neighborhoods out on the northwest side too.
Because it's paved here at the high school, I just had the imagination of paved through this project, asphalt, or are we talking gravel?
No, absolutely paved asphalt. Paved asphalt. Yeah.
Getting rollerblades.
Yeah. So, rollerblades, bikes, obviously walking, running, those kind of things. We want to, obviously it's becoming very apparent to us. And as I look out the window, I just a moment saw, I think cross country. Is that this season? Okay. Cross country runners going. Yeah. We fully recognize that there is a challenge with where this property is located and trying to get anywhere else by other than car, right? We know that you are bordered by basically 3 state roads. Yeah. Well, 2 state roads, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, you're bordered on 3 sides by a state road in some way, shape, or form. And so knowing how we can get from point A to point B and get you connected to the rest of the community is going to be beneficial, not only to the students using that, but certainly to all the residents that would be utilizing this property.
And with the asphalt, the reason I wanted to ask that specifically is because I can totally see 10, 20 years from now, especially as infill happens, as Columbia City expands, that we get many more students who are not only living closer, but who are biking in, who are as students. And I do enjoy a good walk. And asphalt's nice because here some of the spots are low. And it get a little squishy if it was gravel or if it was covered in any other material. So I'm super happy to hear that it's asphalt. Plus, it might be hard to get the imaging out of your head, but there was a time that I was really big into rollerblading.
That's fantastic.
You had long hair, right, with sunglasses on?
I did not have long hair. I did not have I never really wore sunglasses until I moved to Indiana. I used to live in Florida, now I moved to Indiana, and it's just, I don't know, it's glare here or whatever.
Well, some people get into rollerblades, some people get into root beer. It just is what it is.
It's really true. It's really true. Okay, so I love the updates that are happening between the restaurants and some expectations for that. You say 2023 could be the beginning of the trails as well as the Eagle Park.
Yes.
That's what we're calling the former high school. Like that name. That's pretty nice.
I mean, obviously, it's a multifaceted park, but it really kind of harkens back, if you will, to what was there, which is the high school. And even before that, it was, multiple areas owned by individuals in this community. We just felt like Eagle Park probably made the most sense in kind of encapsulating what that park is.
Is there a place online now that you've said like, hey, the trail will begin here, Eagle Park will look like this? Is there a place online where we can see the potentials or the proposed projects
Eagle Park,
other than your Facebook page.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was going to say, well, Eagle Park is an easy one because if you go to columbiacity.net, you can go to that website. And then on there actually is in kind of one of the 3 news items right there. It actually has a link to our park plans. So that's the easiest one to get to. The trail's a little bit more tricky because, to your point, we put it out on Facebook and other places. We've shown it in public meetings. I don't know that we have a direct link to that. Sure. So that may be a really good idea that we can put onto our community development page or something to that effect. But yes, you can go to our columbiacity.net page and it should be, I think it's the far right news page or news piece, if you will, that you can click on that goes to our park plan on the front page there. So yeah. Okay. A lot of different options for people, but go through that plan. Yes. Go through that park plan. Here, it's right
we have
here.
a laptop in front of us right now.
Here, it's right here. There you go.
Save me looking for it.
There you go. So yes, and the nice thing about that is, and again, I want to reiterate what you said. It is a generational project, so it's going piece by piece by piece, but it does. I think it's going to create so much opportunity for our community, for recreational purposes, and not just for athletic stuff, but really for art and nature and those other kinds of sports and other types of activities. Amphitheater, I think, is a really cool thing that I'm excited about as a fine arts guy myself. Obviously, the skate park, as you mentioned, that's something that is going to have some dramatic upgrades from what we currently have at Morses Park. So it really is an exciting thing. The skate park also will have a pump track. So if you are into that kind of stuff.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
What did you say?
A pump track.
A pump track.
Yes.
What is a skate park with a pump track?
Okay, so skate park you probably know, which is where it has little hills, it has the bars, it has all that kind of stuff where you can skate, right?
Children get to burn their energy.
Yes. Yes. A pump track, though, think of it as kind of a in-ground track with concrete, if you will,
for multi skateboards.
Yes,
bikes,
you can kind of it goes. It's a track, again, pump track, and allows individuals to kind of go over some different terrain that's not a square box of a skate park. So they may have a picture on that plan that kind of shows you a pump track. But yeah, it again, it's an added benefit for individuals that are kind of into that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So another feature, I guess you could say.
Yes, basically an additional feature.
So I love that we're investing in our young people and like healthy bodies, healthy minds. It definitely helps long term. You know, the scraped up knees and stuff like that. I've had those. I turned out okay. I think if we give kids things to do, it naturally relates to bonding and to childhood experiences and healthier adults as we go.
And from the broader perspective, if there's nothing else that I want this administration and our city government to be known for, it is that we are trying really hard to create places where people can plant roots here. That's what it comes down to, from not only from a population standpoint, but for a future generation and a sustainability standpoint. We have to do our best to make sure people are planting roots here with their families, and that pays exponential dividends for our community long term.
It's truly nice to see that on your Facebook page. We went to the link. There is a lot of, like, for example, you have a whole category, number 4, visual public engagement. There truly is throughout the entire document, mainly there. It's scattered around where you really encourage public engagement with sports.
ColumbiaCity.net.
Yes.
Okay.
Ecological advancements.
.net.
I mean, there are a lot of things here and key takeaways that really show, and it truly backs that statement that you really want people to plant roots here, and it's truly inspiring. Plus, also, not to brag on your part, but the pictures are beautiful. I mean, I would generally enjoy this. This looks beautiful.
Yeah, the firm we hired has both a local connection, and Moak Park and JPR, Jones Petrie Rufinski, are the ones that kind of partner together on this plan. And the great part about that, to your point, is we had a lot of public engagement, whether it was individuals coming and doing tabletop type exercises, whether it was online survey. We had our youth council that came and they gave their opinion. We had lots of different organizations that gave their opinions and thoughts into this plan. And so I think the nice thing is it really incorporates so many individuals, so many ideas and thoughts into one place that's going to be beneficial.
So to kind of change gears, moving away from that, I'm an internet fan.
Okay.
I know we're having fiber put in.
Yes.
Please update us on
Yes.
progress. Of course, it's coming in with our businesses and having the corridor off of 30.
Sure.
We're getting better, faster, more awesomer internet. Makes everything better.
Yes.
How are we doing?
Yeah. So I just got an update end of a couple of weeks ago. I got an update from the fiber company as to where they're at. Obviously, the weather, a couple of weeks ago was not very good for them to move forward. But they believe that by the end of April, they will have the first phase complete. Now, I want to be real clear about that. That is their projection, first of all. But second of all, maybe more importantly, is when they say complete, they mean not only built, but lit.
Okay, so lit active,
lit
that
fiber
means
that they can that residents can sign up for and they can get service by the end of April.
all right. Very selfish question here.
Yes.
Is there also a place online that I can see like little colored gray boxes of the map of where like, hey, this is where it's bad internet and where we plan to be and when?
Yeah.
Is there any of that?
So for again, Surf Broadband is not a sponsor, but they do have a website. I think it's construction.surfbroadband.com, I believe, and at that website you can actually get updates as to where they're at along the construction route, if you will. Phase 2, I will say that I think they're planning phase 2 to be completed sometime by the end of summer. And that would be the northeast kind of portion of the city. And then the phase 3, and I don't remember where phase 3 is, so you're going to have to look at the map. But phase 3 is basically, I think they're planning to have that done hopefully by the end of the year. So the first 3 of the 5 phases, they're planning to have done by the end of this year.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And the 5 phases will take us probably wrap up loose ends, stuff like that.
Yeah.
1 year, 2 years down the road.
Yeah, I've got to imagine
majority of this area.
I've got to imagine that easily by the end of 2023, the whole project will be completed. I think it's probably more likely to say, again, depending on how the rest of winter goes and how next winter goes, I've got to imagine that they'll be done by summer of 23.
Okay. So for me to get it at the house, for instance,
If you're in the city limits.
Right,
yes.
right. In the city limits.
Yes.
If the line is going by my house, if it's northeast side or whatever road, is that from that point that I negotiate and say like, hey, I'd love the connection? They run it as of that point.
Yeah, I would say it's really no different than what you would have with any of the other providers, CenturyLink, Mediacom, et cetera, which is, you sign up for the service and they would come and hook you up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah,
matter of time.
it's coming.
Until I'm TikToking 24/7.
Yes, that's what the world needs is more Mr. Glossa TikTok.
You're welcome.
So a while ago on Mondays with the Mayor,
Changes gears.
a very long while ago, we had student Xavier Zikafus in the studio, and he asked, he mentioned that he lives out in the country.
Yes.
And you mentioned something along the lines, not quoting, that you could talk to Surf Broadband, and they could potentially work out a plan to try and connect your house in the country and houses in the area. Is that still happening? Am I correct? Misinformed on that?
No, I think you're right. I mean, there is definitely conversations happening of how to connect the majority of the county that is underserved or not served at all, and trying to figure out what the best way to do that is. I will say, I think on my calendar at this point, I have at least 1, if not 2 meetings coming up in the next maybe 2 months as to how to kind of get that taken care of. Now, again, I want to remind residents that my jurisdiction ends at the city boundary. So, at least when it comes to the fiber thing. Now, with that being said, I think the county commissioners have a strong interest on how do we expand fiber and connectivity out into the county.
Yeah.
And so I'm willing to be a conduit for that and to help make those connections, which is what we're doing. But like I said, we have a couple of meetings coming up here in the next probably month or so that hopefully will start paving the way for an expansion of the fiber out into the county areas, into the unincorporated areas of the county.
Do we need to have another guest in potentially Mondays with the Mayor for a little expansion?
I mean, I think definitely as the project moves forward, I think it'd be perfectly fine to have somebody come in to talk about the project, certainly.
So we'll have to put a pin in this conversation. I do want to move forward to chat about a couple of other things because I see that we're running low on time. You have one other thing?
Yes, really quick. To fact check that, yes. You can go to construction.surfbroadband.com, and on their website, in the top right corner, you can see Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. If you drop down on Indiana, click Columbia City, there is a map that shows coming soon, construction in progress, a really useful website to see. If you don't hear Mondays with the Mayor, if you don't connect to it, this is the time to go and look for yourself.
Do you want to screenshot that right quick so we can post that up maybe
Absolutely.
on our
More
webpages
social
for the
media.
community?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think this is going to be a game changer, not only with the businesses that are coming in, but just faster internet around. If you can get 10% faster on every project, by the time you do 10 projects,
it makes a difference.
For me,
it makes a big difference.
The entire month of July, 10 projects maybe.
Well, think about it the other way. I mean, we just talked about inflation, right? 10% more on a project gets pretty expensive pretty quickly.
True.
Think of it the opposite way.
I'm not a math teacher, so I've been wanting to make that joke. Okay, real quick, moving forward, I wanted to ask about potential for the future, how this might affect Columbia City. I see that South Whitley they're having a negotiation with their employees, with the city being one of the largest employers in the area,
right?
And pretty close, if not the largest employer. I'm trying to think if the hospital counts as being in the city. With the hospital system, medical workers.
Yeah, we're not the top. We're not the top one. We may be fifth or sixth.
South Whitley, still huge.
Yes,
South Whitley being one of the largest employers in their neck of the woods. They're negotiating with their employees for raises kind of across the board.
Sure.
Individual circumstances apply, of course. Does this affect Columbia City? Are we stealing their employees, vice versa? Is this indication of things to come? Are we looking at that? Just looking, I guess, for more indicators of health and community here at the whole.
Yeah, it's a good question. So obviously, employment is an issue across the board for everybody right now. Filling available spots is a huge challenge across the board. So, we have been consistently looking at our salaries, our benefits, all that stuff at the city. We feel really good about where we're at. We have a pretty good retention rate when it comes to our employees. We are not stealing from our friends in South Whitley or any other city for that matter. We are doing, I think, a really good job of attracting good quality candidates to those open positions. Right now, we're going through a process where our firefighters, we're hiring 2 firefighters. They're going through the process of doing their testing and all that kind of stuff right now. So that's really the one on the main front. But I would just say from a broader perspective, like I said, we have a retention rate, if you will, and we have a retention tracking with our HR department that shows kind of how we're doing when it comes to hired.
Okay, so you guys are looking at analytics.
Absolutely. We're looking at those analytics every year and really looking at what are we doing right, wrong, or indifferent. And so I feel really good about where we're at. We have consistently tried to keep up with the curve when it comes to actual wages for our employees, and we'll continue to look at that as it goes up. Keep in mind, every time there's a raise, that's fewer tax dollars we can use on other things. So it's always that balancing act that we have for our city. But kind of put a pin in that one, just to say that, it's the value proposition.
Yes.
Right? We want to make sure that we have the best individuals serving our constituents day in and day out, and it's important for us to continue to invest in that human capital.
All right, and with that being said, this will wrap up Mondays with the Mayor. To cap on everything we talked about really quick, we talked about new restaurants in Columbia City with Chapman's coming in, the Tokyo doing so well. We also talked about Eagle Park and our WCCS middle school and high school trails getting connected to the town. And around here, we talked about the fiber optic plan, and we just touched on South Whitley employees and what that means for Columbia City. Did I miss anything?
It feels pretty good.
Great recap, by the way.
Thank you. I've wanted to get that right for so many episodes. And with that being said, this is the conclusion to Mondays with the Mayor. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Daniel, getting this right. For coming into the studio. It's always nice to have you. Mr. Glaza, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
This has been Jonathan Peters, Mondays with the Mayor on WJHS 91.5.
Join us next time, Mondays with the Mayor, here on WJHS 91.5, The Eagle, broadcasting from Columbia City High School. Views and opinions expressed here do not represent WCCS. Search for WJHS on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and more. Write to us your comments and questions to be voiced on the air. WJHS is 91.5, The Eagle.